भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, chapter entitled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna, text 58 and 59. Iti Nanda Adayah Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvantah Ramamanah Cha Na Avindan Bhavavedanam. Iti Nandadayo Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Iti Nandadayo Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Iti Nandadayo Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Iti Nandadayo Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Iti Nandadayo Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Matajis. Iti Nandadayo Gopah Krishna Rama Katham Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Iti, in this way, Nanda Adayah, all the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj, Gopah, cowherd men, Krishna Rama Katham, narration of incidents in connection with Bhagavan Krishna and Rama. Muda, in great transcendental pleasure. Kurvantaha, doing that. Ramamanaha cha, enjoyed life and increased their affection for Krishna. Na, not. Avindan, perceived. Bhavavedanam, the tribulations of material existence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. In this way, all the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure, and they could not even perceive material tribulations. Purport. Here is an instruction about the result of studying or discussing the Krishna Leelas that appear in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sadyo hridyavarudhyate etra kritibhi shushrusubhi tatshanat. Bhagavatam, 1st canto, chapter 1, text 2. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda in Vrindavan appeared like ordinary persons of this material world, but they never felt the tribulations of this world, although they sometimes met many dangerous situations created by the demons. This is a practical example. If we follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj and the Gopas, we can all be happy simply by discussing the activities of Krishna. Anarthopashamam sakshad bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasyajanato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 6. Vyasadeva has given this literature so that everyone may understand one's transcendental position simply by discussing Bhagavad Katha. Even at the present moment, everyone, everywhere can be happy and free from material tribulations by following Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no need of austerities and penances, which in this age are very difficult to perform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore declared, Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. By our Krishna consciousness movement, we are trying to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam so that anyone in any part of the world can be absorbed in the Krishna consciousness movement by chanting and hearing about the activities of Krishna and be free from all material tribulations. We'll just chant text 59. Eham evam viharai kaumaram jahatur vraje Nilayanai setu bandhair markatot plavanadibhi. Translation. In this way, Krishna and Balaram passed their childhood age in Vrajbhumi by engaging in activities of childish play, such as playing hide and seek, constructing a make-believe bridge on the ocean, and jumping here and there like monkeys. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirhandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, right at the beginning, I would like to seek the blessings of all the devotees present here, in particular senior devotees like His Grace Radha Charan Prabhu, His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu, Gopijan Vallabh Prabhu, Srila Haridas Thakur Prabhu, and all my other brahmachari friends, that I may be able to speak something which will be benefit to all of us. Especially I feel this is something which is an opportunity for me to try and somehow purify my own consciousness. So this verse is a very, Prabhupada hits the nail on the head, right on the head, in the very first line of the purport. Here is an instruction about the result of studying or discussing Krishna Leelas that appear in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada begins his purport by this one line. So what is this verse all about? This verse is, in this way all the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balram with great transcendental pleasure. And they could not even perceive material tribulations. So in the world today, there is no shortage of material tribulations, be it lack of rain or excessive rain, all the three kinds of miseries. And so therefore, Prabhupada immediately follows up this line, the first line of this purport, with the verse Sadyo Hridya Varudyate Trakrtibhi Shushrusubhi Tatshanat. So I would just like to talk about this. Why Prabhupada he just mentions this line from the verse, first canto, first chapter, text 2. He just mentions the line and the purport continues. But this is a very important line actually. If immediately following the first line of the purport, very important line. And what is this verse? So this is the fourth line of this verse. First chapter, first canto, first chapter, second verse. So this is the fourth line. The first three lines, when we take the whole thing, it will make a lot of sense why Prabhupada is mentioning this particular line here. So the first, everyone is aware what is this verse, Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayo unmoolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parair Ishvara Sadyo Hridyavrudyate Prakrtibhi Shushrusubhis Tatshanat. So, this particular verse is talking about, like we always have heard, Prabhupada being quoted. Many times people quote Prabhupada that Bhagavad Gita is like, preliminary study, like school. And then when we study Srimad Bhagavatam, it is like, undergraduate study. And studying Chaitanya Charitamrita is like postgraduate study. So in the initial stage, that is in school stage, it ends, Krishna ends Bhagavad Gita with the instruction that Sarvadharman Parityajya, just give up all other forms of religion and just surrender unto me. And Bhagavatam begins off, first chapter, first verse, second verse, it begins with Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Paramo, just completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. And the most important is, such truth uproots the threefold miseries. So again, we come back to one theme here from this verse, that the Brajvasis, they could not even perceive material tribulations. Not to say that there were no material tribulations. Someone might say, nowadays there is so much pollution, there is so much problem with, we only have created so many problems. So actually, I don't think, because there were no pollution, no industries, no problems of this kind, I don't think there would have been such problems like the ones we face today. Maybe not similar, not of such a degrading quality, like not on such a basic existential level like supply of water or clean air, good food. Maybe not on that scale, but even the Brajvasis, they had their fair share of tribulations, especially after the appearance of Krishna and Balaram. There were so many tribulations which the Brajvasis also had to face. It was not like, we can imagine that a 12-mile long personality like Putana, when she runs around trying to get Krishna off her breast, she must be running through so many fields, so many, and ultimately she runs out of the village of Vrindavan. So in the meanwhile she causes so many damage, or Trinavarth for that matter. It's not that he didn't cause damage to the Brajvasis in Gokul. So many problems they had to face. So, such truth uproots the threefold miseries, and at once within the heart, what happens? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, this is the line which Prabhupada is quoting here, Sadyo Hridyavrudyate Trakrtibhi Shushrusubhi Tatshanat. Tatshanat. That means as soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So Prabhupada, every line, every word that he writes in his purport, if you meditate how this comes here, or otherwise he is just writing, here is an instruction about the result of studying or discussing Krishna Leelas that appear in Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he straight writes Sadhyo Hridyavrudyate Kritivi. This is straight from first canto. In 10th canto he is quoting. So right from beginning to end. So if a fruit is ripe, wherever we bite it from, we are going to taste the sweetness only. Whether we are biting whether we are reading first canto, whether we are reading 10th canto, it's always going to be sweet. From any side we taste it. And even that has been covered by Sukdev Goswami by comparing Srimad Bhagavatam to the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. And it is not just ripened fruit. Everybody knows from practical experience, especially those who have stayed in some rural place or have experience with trees and fruit trees, that generally those fruits which have been pecked at by the birds, they are more sweeter to taste. So that is again, Shukha Mukhad Amrita Dravya Samyutam. That is this Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada is writing, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda in Vrindavan appeared like ordinary persons of this material world, but they never felt the tribulations of this world. So in today's day and age, we see some people, they are so worried, authorities are worried that their rains are not sufficient, maybe we need to do some cloud seeding and create artificial rains. And as soon as their thought comes in the mind of the government or the authorities, then it starts raining. So then, okay, there is some rain. Other authorities feel, some other people, they are concerned. If it doesn't rain sufficiently, then, some people, they have their own wells. But when there is no sufficient rain and there is scarcity of water, then the authorities can take over all private wells so that there is equal distribution of water to everyone. So that is another worry for some other people. So many tensions, so many tribulations. And this is just simple things, but there are so many, as we know, the Tapatraya, Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik and Adhyatmik kleshas which are inflicted upon each living entity, and everyone is trying to find some sort of a solution. And at best what can be achieved by the common people is absence of misery. Means on a scale, from the negative side they can come to zero, but they cannot go to the positive side of actual enjoyment. And here we see that Nanda Maharaj and the cowherdmen, they enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. In fact, in the word-to-word translation, Prabhupada translates Ramamana Cha. They enjoyed life and increased their affection for Krishna. So they were actually on the positive side of the scale. Not just bringing the miseries to zero, but on the positive side. And how they did it? Very simply. Just by enjoying the topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure. Now this sounds so simple, like Prabhupada used to say, Hare Krishna, many times we also have this experience. When we tell somebody, many times we are traveling in train or we are, just walking on the street, and suddenly someone they see saffron, or we are traveling in taxi, or they see saffron. Maharaj, आपको एक सवाल पूछूं क्या? It all starts like this. आपको एक सवाल पूछूं क्या? And it is basically they are in some sort of a miserable condition, some tensions, some personal problems, and they want to find out, okay, what can give me relief from this problem. And when we tell them, we hear patiently, and after hearing the whole story, it's a long wound out story, and after the whole thing is heard, we just tell them, ek hi hal hai, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And they find it so difficult to accept that that's it, और कुछ नहीं. कुछ आप मेरे को कुछ देंगे नहीं, कुछ गले में बांधने के लिए, something to wear on my neck or on my arm, some protective, or maybe you can we'll perform some particular activity, some ritual which will grant me relief from all these miseries. So it's very difficult for people to accept that it can be so simple. So Prabhupada says further that although Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda in Vrindavan appeared like ordinary persons of this material world, but they never felt the tribulations of this world. Although sometimes they met many dangerous situations created by demons. This is a practical example. If we follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj and the Gopas, we can all be happy simply by discussing the activities of Krishna. Now Prabhupada quotes another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. He says, Anarthopashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasya ajanato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. So this particular verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, actually we have to understand where this 7th chapter, what is this 7th chapter, what is the context in which this verse is coming. So again, Vyasadeva has compiled all the Vedas and the Puranas and the Upanishads, and even after all that compilation he is in a despondent state, and in that state of despondency Vyasadeva's guru Narad Muni, he comes to meet Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva asks him, what is the cause of my despondency? And Narad Muni tells him that you have not sufficiently described the name, the form, the pastimes, the paraphernalia of Lord Krishna through all these literatures which you have compiled, but you have not sufficiently glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is the cause of your despondency. So in response, during this description, Narad Muni, he describes his own past life. He gives his own example as his own life story as an example to show how just by describing or by engaging in this activity of hearing and chanting the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, ultimately he is now elevated to such a position that he is an intimate associate of the Lord. So then Narad Muni there, he mentions that Sakrid yad darshitam rupam etat kamayate anagha mat kama sanakai sadhu sarvan munchati hrichayan. So in this whole narrative where Narad Muni is talking about his experiences in his previous lifetimes and then how he came to be Narad Muni, so he says at one point of time the Lord actually appeared before Narad Muni, and then after appearing, Narad Muni had the darshan of the Lord, and then the Lord just disappeared from his vision. So the Lord, then he is very intensely hankering for the vision of the Lord, but the Lord doesn't appear before him. Instead he just hears the voice of the Lord. And what does the Lord say? That you have only seen once. You have only seen me once. Sakrid yad darshitam rupam. You have just seen my form once. And why did I reveal this form to you? That too once. Etat kamaya te anagha. This is just to increase your desire more. Your desire to see me. And mat kama sanakai sadhu. So what will happen? By the more you hanker for me, sarvan munchati ruchayan, the more you will be freed from all material desires. So the Lord is telling Narad Muni that the more you will hanker after me, the more you will be engaged in thinking about me, the more you will be freed from material desires. So as Prabhupada would always say, either you are serving Lord Krishna or you are serving Maya. There is no in-between path. There is no in-between thing. If you are not serving Krishna, then obviously you are engaged in serving Maya. So if you are completely engaged in serving Krishna, then there is no question of serving Maya. Like Srila Haridas Thakur, he was always so absorbed in chanting the holy names of the Lord. Even Maya Devi herself came in front of him to entice him. Still he was not deviated, because he was very fixed up, very firmly fixed up in his service to the holy names. So Prabhupada writes that a living being cannot be vacant of desires. He is not a dead stone. He must be working, thinking, feeling and willing. So we cannot just switch off everything and say the more I am involved in the activities of this world, then the more I will get entangled. So I will just switch off everything. No. Every living entity must be working, thinking, feeling, willing. But when he thinks, feels and wills materially, he becomes entangled. And conversely, when he thinks, feels and wills for the service of the Lord, he becomes gradually freed from all entanglement. And very nice classic statement of Prabhupada, material service has satiation, whereas spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end. Like when we are doing some activity which is not related to the service of Lord, then it comes to an end and then that's the end of it. But we recently had this experience, and it's a continuous experience when we are in the temple, that every day there is some sort of festival. There is Janmashtami every day somewhere or the other. One day here, the other day there, sometimes multiple places on the same day. Janmashtami is being celebrated, so there is a feast being cooked in the temple. Even now some devotees are in the kitchen cooking feast for Janmashtami festival in Nayar Hospital today. So there is a feast being cooked for some other place. So many activities are continuously happening. There is no end. And even though there is no end in sight, still people are not frustrated. Arey, kabhi khatam hoga. Devotees are constantly eager. Now what next? Now what next? It's not that, chalo bhai, khatam ho gaya. Now just leave me alone for some time. No. It always goes on. Now what next? Actually this year, because of Purushottam Adhik Maas, there is this gap between Janmashtami and Radhashtami. Otherwise, you have this back-to-back, Jhulan Yatra, then Balram Jayanti, Janmashtami, Radhashtami, and immediately Sharad Purnima, it goes on and on. Govardhan Puja. Of course, Govardhan Puja we usually celebrate somewhere either in Vrindavan or in Mayapur, but still the festival is on, always on. So spiritual service of the Lord, and devotees, they work night and day and arrange such amazing festivals. Even a place like just yesterday, His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu was telling me, at a very drab, he had gone for a college Janmashtami program, and the hall itself was not in a very good shape. But the way the devotees are arranged the entire function, the decoration, the prasadam arrangements, the arrangements for the speaker who is going to speak, the abhishek arrangements, the DT after the abhishek and after the class, the darshan arrangements, how the altar will be decorated and all that. The whole thing was done in such a nice way that external condition of that, the walls and the hall where this whole event took place, that became completely immaterial to the audience and everyone there. Even though otherwise, if you see the empty hall, it would be in a very drab place with all the paint peeling off and everything. So because that place was being used as a venue for Janmashtami festival, which is celebrating the appearance of the Lord, the whole place was transformed practically. So after that, Narad Muni tells Vyasadeva that thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are all benedictory, and so doing I travelled all over the earth, fully satisfied and free from pride and envy. Then he tells a very interesting statement. He says, Narad Muni tells Vyasadeva that the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. So, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities, the Supreme Lord at once appears on the seat of my heart, as if I called him. So, like you just call, come here, and then immediately Lord Krishna is coming and being seated on his heart. And then he says, it is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. And what is that boat? The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. So it is being repeatedly, right from first canto till even 10th canto, the same message. And what is that? That just by hearing about the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, there is no question of any material tribulation, even touching the devotees. And this was quite interesting to me because it reminded me of one example which again His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu gave in his Sunday morning Bhagavatam class about what it takes to develop faith in the words of a Tattvadarshi. He was mentioning the 5 steps to develop faith. Yeah. So here, that is why again Narad Muni is specifically saying, it was personally experienced by me. So he explains his history about his previous lifetimes, and then he is saying, see, I experienced it, and then I chanted. And then after chanting, it was so that when I chanted, Krishna actually came and sat on the seat of my heart as if I had called him and he is sitting here. So he is saying it is personally experienced by me. So His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu was mentioning that when we have to develop faith, the first step is we hear from someone, and after hearing we observe that somebody is, actually, so he gave example of some particular cream which we use to remove pimples. So we hear, then we observe somebody else is using, and then the third step comes, and that is application, personal application, which is the more which requires little investment from our side. So a little difficult to actually practice. Hearing and observing, many people can come and tell us many things and we'll hear it, but the third part requires a little practical investment from our side. And after we practically invest and we experience, anubhav, that this actually works. So when we experience that this actually works, then comes the next stage, which is the most effective stage to develop that faith, and that is prachar, or the stage when he preaches. Next time whenever that person sees somebody has a pimple, immediately he says, use this cream. It works. It worked in my case. मैं बोलता हूँ. Similarly, here Narad Muni is saying, Narad Muni is saying, it is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. So Narad Muni is explaining the entire history to Vyasadeva in the course of his instructions, and then he is telling, see, I experienced, he is saying that, I experienced this, and now I am telling you, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. So then, what happens is, Vyasadeva is hearing all this, and after that Narad Muni leaves from Vyasadeva's ashram, and then Shaunakadi Rishi, they are asking Sutta Goswami, so what happened next? After Narad Muni left, then what happened? Then what did Vyasadeva do? So then Suta Goswami is telling that Sri Vasudev, he sat down to meditate and he fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it by linking it in devotional service without any tinge of materialism. And then he saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under full control. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material desires. So Prabhupada writes very brilliant purport here. He says, Srimad Bhagavatam is the summum bonum remedy for suffering humanity in the clutches of Maya. Srila Vyasadeva therefore first of all diagnosed the actual disease of the conditioned soul, that is, their being illusioned by the external energy. He also saw that the perfect Supreme Being from whom the illusory energy is far removed, though he saw both the disease conditioned souls and also the cause of the disease. And then Vyasadeva, he speaks the following verse, that is, Anarthopashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje. So this is Suta Goswami is telling Shaunakadi Rishi that Vyasadeva, while in meditation, he saw the supreme absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy who was under his full control, the control of the personality of Godhead, which even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam eva hi prapadyante mayam evam tarantite. So he says, Krishna also says this in Bhagavad Gita, and here Vyasadeva is saying that yes, this external energy is under the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Suta Goswami tells this next verse, which Prabhupada has quoted in today's purport, that is, Anartho Pashavam Sakshat Bhakti Yogam Adhokshaje Lokasya Ajanato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. So, very interesting purport Prabhupada gives. He says that he begins with the material miseries of the living entity which are superfluous to him. Krishna mentions this even in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya, Shita ushna sukha dukkada. It is just by coming in contact with this material nature that the living entity experiences these different problems such as Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkhada. But they are temporary. Agama, Apayano, Anityaha. They come and they go, they are temporary. Tam Stitikshasva Bharata. So Krishna also hints at this, that these problems which the living entity is facing, they are superfluous. And they can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature which is in relation to the Supreme Truth. So Prabhupada is mentioning here, Vyasadeva has given this literature so that everyone may understand one's transcendental position simply by discussing Bhagavad Katha. Even at the present moment, everyone everywhere can be happy and free from material tribulations by following Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no need of austerities and penances. Like I mentioned, when we tell people outside that just chant Hare Krishna and all your problems will be solved. So it is very difficult for them to comprehend. I mean, is this a real person? I mean, he is wearing saffron, but actually is he a sadhu or what? Then they tell, "Aap haath dekho na mera," just see my hand or some astrological calculations. They just can't believe that it is as simple as that. And whatever be the problem, just by chanting Hare Krishna, it can be solved. So Prabhupada writes, there is no need of austerities and penances which in this age are very difficult to perform. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore declared, Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. And immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu follows up with, Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tattarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. There are no rules and regulations also for this Sri Krishna Sankirtana. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. So many times devotees have this experience. They are standing on a bookstall during marathon and somebody comes in, they stop at the stall, you try to give them the book, but they are hesitant and then they say, oh nahi, मैं non-veg खा के आया हूँ ना, तो इसके लिए हाथ नहीं लगा सकता हूँ, you know. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately follows it, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, and then there are no rules and regulations regarding this chanting of the holy names. No rules and regulations that you have to do at this time, at that time, you know, during the day. Only one rule, minimum 16 rounds. Beyond that also there is no rule. There is only one boundary condition. Beyond that there is no rule. You can go, and that is also actually the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Because in other times, in other places we understand that the standard was 64 rounds, chanting 64 rounds. So Srila Prabhupada as a discount to his disciples, and especially being, you know, foresighted, that he knew that in the coming years, as the Kali Yuga progresses more and more, even these 16 rounds will be a very difficult task for living entities, for all the people of this Kali Yuga to chant. So therefore he said at least bare minimum 16 rounds, not less than that. So the only condition is, only rule which applies to Sri Krishna Sankirtanam is at least 16 rounds, not less than that. By our Krishna consciousness movement, we are trying to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam so that anyone in any part of the world can be absorbed in the Krishna consciousness movement by chanting and hearing about the activities of Krishna and be freed from all material tribulations. And actually, we should understand, Prabhupada, he was so concerned that he may not be able to complete his Srimad Bhagavatam translations and purports before he had to leave this world. So out of that concern, he gave us the Krishna book, which is a summary study of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in a form of stories. He gave us the Krishna book, so that at least we have the Krishna book. Now people are adapting in different formats, audio, video formats, for the benefit of more and more people around the world. But Prabhupada, in his infinite wisdom, he gave us Krishna book beforehand, so that we can have this opportunity to read about the pastimes, about the glories of Lord Sri Krishna. This is a very interesting, I just got a mail, I will just end with this. It's quite interesting. Like I was telling, many times people, they don't understand how it is so easy, just chanting Hare Krishna or just reading about Lord Krishna's pastimes. How it can be so simple, it's such a bold statement to say that we will not be disturbed by any material tribulation or any problems. It's not that the material tribulations will not come, but the thing is we won't be disturbed by it. To such an extent that the Brajvasis did not even perceive them as material tribulations. Now we will see in the forthcoming chapters the pastime of Lord Krishna lifting Govardhan hill, where Indra sent torrential rains to Vrindavan for 7 days and 7 nights continuously. If it doesn't rain, it is a big problem. If it rains continuously for 4 days, again it is a problem. But 7 days, 7 nights, torrential rain, no problem for the residents of Vrindavan. Why? Because ultimately whatever they did, whatever their every moment in life was only so that we can please Krishna, so that we can be, if we get the opportunity to have a glimpse of Krishna, that was like the ultimate perfection. So for 7 days and 7 nights, they were all together with Krishna under Govardhan hill. So that was like, what problems? Even though entire Vrindavan was flooded, their homes were completely swept away, everything, no problem. They did not even perceive any tribulation. Why? Because they had already achieved the ultimate goal, and that was being with Krishna, being in the presence of Krishna, having the darshan of the lotus feet of Krishna, lotus face of Krishna, being completely absorbed in Krishna's thoughts. So they had already achieved that goal. So there is no question of perceiving any material. They didn't have to think, oh, I have to catch 8:11 ka fast, churchgate fast pakadne ka hai. Nothing. Perfection already achieved. So Prabhupada, I mean, many people, they find it very unsettling. How can just reading Bhagavatam or just chanting Hare Krishna give me that stage? So I just received a mail yesterday which Prabhupada himself gives a very nice analogy. And it says that, Prabhupada says, something has dropped in the water in the river. If something we drop in the water in a river, he says, you cannot see the things which were dropped within the water by agitating the water. If something is dropped in water, if we agitate the water, we cannot see it. Why? Because it will get more muddy. The water will get more muddy. So Prabhupada is saying, just stand still for some time. As soon as the water is settled up, you will see the things as they are. So, as soon as our enthusiasm is agitated, it is better to sit down in any temple suitable or in any suitable place and chant Hare Krishna. There is no question of being disappointed. So as soon as there is agitation, there is some tribulation, we are facing some situation which is agitating us, just chant Hare Krishna. And there is no question of being disappointed. After all, we commit so many mistakes. That is human nature. To err is human, that is not fault. But try to rectify with a cool head. So this is a lecture which Prabhupada gave on the nectar of devotion in Calcutta, and he is mentioning, just chant Hare Krishna. So was such a nice analogy Prabhupada gives. How this just chanting Hare Krishna, that if we are agitating more, then the water is only going to get more muddy. Like we have this, we always tell this in our Gita courses. Material solutions to material problems only create more problems. Unless the solution is on a spiritual platform, it is not going to work out. It's not going to give us some everlasting solution. So that is how here Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy. If we are trying to find something which is dropped in water in a river, by agitating that water more, we are only going to create that water, make that water more muddy, and we won't be able to see what we are looking for. But if we keep still for some time, the water settles down, all the mud settles down, we can see clearly where is our object and pick it up. Similarly, just sit still. We are being agitated by the material situations around us, by the material world around us. But this is how, if we just chant Hare Krishna, read Krishna book, read Srimad Bhagavatam, that is sufficient. Why? Because our agitation will be cooled down, and we will be able to rectify the problem with a cool head. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions or queries, we are already 2 minutes beyond time, so I think we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.